Well, hi, everybody. This is Brad Farwell. I am the managing director over here at SMS, and I am pleased and excited to have a very special guest with us today, Wendy Kirkland. And this is going to be a live webinar with Wendy. Before we start, there's just a little housekeeping matter that we have to do, and this is your standard risk disclosure. I'm sure you've all seen this before. I am just going to keep it up on the screen for about 5 seconds. Okay. Now, Wendy Kirkland. I'm sure all of you are heard of Wendy, but maybe not all of you are familiar with her story, how she started out. Everybody has a story, and Wendy's story is fascinating. It's a Ratio Alger story, from rags to riches. Well, not actually rags. I mean, she was successful. She had a very successful gift shop in Asheville, North Carolina, and this was destroyed by a flood, Hurricane Ivan. Now, Asheville's up in the mountains, and you normally think of here, hurricanes hitting the coast, but this was so bad it destroyed up in the mountains her gift shop that she and her husband had spent years building up a clientele, a very successful business. And all of you folks, we've all had challenges in our life, and this is a major challenge to overcome. It was completely destroyed. Imagine your retirement plan is gone. You don't have enough insurance to cover everything. What the heck are you going to do? Well, we've all heard the saying, turn lemons into lemonade, and that's what Wendy did. She had a friend who was a very successful options trader, and Wendy spent night and day studying the markets for years, studying options, successful patterns. And that led her to write a book. It was a bestseller called Options Trading in Your Spare Time, where she shared her successful trading strategies, how she did it with others. She was a pioneer, so to speak, especially for women. But this book became a bestseller, and I think, yeah, right, it was in 2009. And what we're going to do is we are going to talk about two of her strategies, two of her prime services. The first one we're going to talk about is her first strike trade alerts. And then we're going to also introduce the Blitz program. Wendy will be talking about both of those. The first one we're going to cover is the first strike. And what are the benefits of using the first strike? How can this enhance your decision making? What can it do for you? And then we are going to go into the Blitz paycheck. Wendy's going to go in detail on how the Blitz paycheck works. You're going to discover various income opportunities by using the Blitz paycheck that can be very profitable for you. And you're going to understand the benefits and see how this could benefit you and your family, quite frankly, by becoming a member. Anytime you have a question on anything during this webinar, we're going to cover pretty much everything. But if you do need to have any questions, immediately you can call us at 310-647-5664. So with that, we are thrilled, to say the least, to have the acclaimed options trading expert, Wendy Kirkland, with us today. She's going to take over the presentation very shortly and cover her patterns to profit, Wendy Kirkland's high probability option tactics. So again, please hold your questions until the end of the presentation, as we will have a Q&A session with her immediately following her segment. And now let's give a warm welcome to Wendy Kirkland. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, hi, hi. I'm so happy to be here. This is just awesome.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Well, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and click the share button, and there's the page. And let me do it so that we do slideshow and from the beginning. There we go. I think that did it. Does it look all right on your end?
I can see it perfectly.
Awesome. Well, I
Everything is
am
good.
so happy to be here. Thank you, Brad. That
Well, happy to
it's
have you. I mean, I'm excited. Been waiting for this.
well, that's great. And I'm doing my favorite thing here, and that is to share the patterns that I discovered and how to trade options and earn money through trading options. And you mentioned the hurricane that came through that wiped out the shop. And so I'm just going to add one little tidbit because that has been on my mind recently because of Helene that came through the area and again wiped out the same area all over again. And so that was a real reminder of how fortunate I am and how that such a negative event ended up being such a positive thing for me that totally changed my life. I mean, that is just an odd event. I'm so thankful that I was not affected by the storm this time, but it was a reminder of, in a sense, how fortunate I was that that happened. It's weird. So anyway, today what we're going to talk about is First Strike and Blitz. And I'd like to share that, in a sense, they both services trade the same patterns, the P3 patterns that I discovered uh, through my trading. And this is what I talk about and share that First Strike focuses on three equities. They focus on the indices. They trade the Qs, which is NASDAQ, SPY, which is the S&P, and IWM, which is the Russell. And so that is the first system that we're going to discuss here and look at some charts and so on. And then we will move into Blitz. And what that trades is the higher what am I trying to say? The equities that have a lot of volume, they have high ATRs, average true range. And so you don't want to be focusing on equities that just a few people are in. You want to be in the trades where there's a lot of people, there's a lot of movement, and so on. So let me move forward here. So the patterns, I call them the P3 and P3 and a half patterns. And this is what I discovered. The P3 patterns are the bullish patterns. The P3 and a half patterns are the bearish patterns. And just very quickly, I will tell a story about how this all came about. That at some point early on, I discovered the uh, PPO and the ADX as far as indicators, and I like them. I have since changed the amounts that they are set at and all, but anyway, as far as the information they shared, it resonated with me. And I got used to looking at the charts. And then one day, I accidentally deleted the chart and had to reset it up. And so I set it up wrong. I put the ADX on the top of the PPO instead of underneath the way I had it. And it's like, oh my goodness, the charts look so different. What in the world? And it took a little while to sort it out and figure out that I didn't really realize it, but I was seeing or starting to see patterns. And that is then how the P3 and the P3.5 patterns developed. On this chart that you're looking at here for GE, you can see that I have made some circles, and excuse me, the lower ADX and PPO that's in the middle, where I have drawn 3 circles there. We'll look at the one that's in the middle of April, where the lines kind of pinch together. That is what I call a P3 pattern. And what I discovered is that one pattern, in a sense, goes through a life cycle, and we're going to talk about that. It conceives the opposite pattern so that you can look at any chart and know exactly what is playing out, what is happening, and what is apt to happen next. So, like I said, they kind of create a life cycle. And these patterns appear on every equity and every ETF. The patterns appear on every time frame chart, not just daily, not just weekly. You can be looking at 60-minute, 30-minute, all the way down to 1-minute charts. The bullish adult patterns conceive the bearish patterns, kind of the beginning, the embryo, or if you want to call it that. And the bearish adult patterns conceive the bullish patterns, and it goes back and forth, back and forth. If ever a pattern fails to become an adult, the previous pattern goes back into the earlier adult stage 100% of the time. And there is not a whole lot in the stock market that you can say happens 100% of the time. So here is GE, and in the middle here on April 14th is where there is a P3 pattern, and then it goes through the full life cycle. And this is all the information, taking it step by step by step, showing what the indicators are saying, what they look like, all the aspects of it. That's what's in the books, and that is what is explained. So the services, I provide trades, but I also teach, because that's kind of my goal, is that the end result is going to be that you're going to grasp this and be able to apply it. And so in this particular case, again, the pattern kind of got started on the 21st of April and went up until May 17th or so. It rose up there, and then it started to head down. And that is when that pattern was getting ready to end. So here's another one. This is Visa, and again, can pretty easily see where the circles are on, I guess it might have been the 9th or so, but close to the 7th as far as the date that you're looking at. That was a pattern that got started and then failed, and then got going again just after the 21st, and rose up and up and up. That would have been just an awesome, amazing trade, and this is what I teach you. So First Strike, as I mentioned, trades the 3 equities, the Qs, SPY, and IWM. And that is just exactly what it focuses on, which covers truly the majority of the market. So again, here you can see on April 7th, the lines kind of pinch together, and then it goes up and it moves through all of the life cycle stages. Here is the Qs, and here I've kind of marked the start, in a sense, of bullish and bearish patterns, that the little circles on the top there indicate the bearish patterns, and the little one on the um, bottom is the bullish patterns. And again, this is to emphasize that one pattern creates another pattern. And if ever a pattern fails, the previous pattern, and that is what happened in this case, the previous pattern goes back, in a sense, into being an adult or reincarnated for a little bit of a while, and then it creates the opposite pattern. So again, this is what the books explain, and when you're able to look at trades that are happening and playing out, it all makes sense to you. So here is SPY. It has a number of circles on it. And many of those circles that are on the upper ADX and PPO are patterns where there was teeny tiny little pullbacks, uh, little tiny drops, but they did not really change the overall uh, upward pattern. That my little note there says that the P3.5, the uh, bearish patterns failed, and the P3s then went back into the strength stages over and over again. So here's IWM, and we'll look here at like May 21st or so, that is when it started dropping, and the it went into the strength stage. It created a little P3 pattern on the 22nd of May, and that pattern got started, but it did not go through its stages. The P3 pattern got started without going through all the stages. The green line of the plus DI, I'm sorry, the ADX, never got up over the red line, and then it failed, and you can see up there on the 23rd that price dropped again. So again, this is all information that is explained. So I wanted to look at a specific trade so that you could get the gist of the potential that had you purchased IWM in that example that we just looked at on June, or you bought the expiration of June 3rd for an IWM put trade, the premium would have been 80 cents. And we'll just say that you decided to purchase 6 contracts. So that would have been a total of $480. You entered on the 21st of May, and price drops, and you hold until the next day and decide to sell the next morning after it had a drop on open. The bid premium when the trade was closed was $2.41, or $1,446 for the 6 contracts. That means that you gained $966, or 201%, on an overnight trade. That is pretty amazing. That is awesome. Whoops. So the books cover the chart images. They have clear explanations that cover the full life cycle of both the P3 and P3.5 life stages. And in a sense, what it is sharing is that the patterns are conceived, then there is a birth, then there's the infant stage, toddler stage, teenage stage, adult stage, and then the end. And part of the adult stage is the fact that it conceives the opposite pattern, which then goes through its life cycle. So now I'm switching because we've looked at the 3 equities for the Qs and IWM and SPY. So now we're going to talk about the Blitz service. And what it focuses on is equities that have high ATR or average true range. What that means is that they consistently, every day or most days, the majority are high percent moves, or maybe they move a percent and a half to 2% or more per day, so that you are zeroing in on stocks that consistently have big moves. So here is Intuit, and this only has the PPO and the ADX at the bottom, but it doesn't matter. We can look at it for the example that I wanted to show. And even now, with the little bit of information that we have discussed, I have no doubt that you can look toward the, say, 21st of April, and you can see that the lines are pinching together. And then as things get going, the pattern flows through and goes through its life cycle. And then there's a big pop on the 27th. This is Ross Stores. Again, you can look and see where the lines pinch together. There on March 24th, and then it starts flowing up. Takes a little bit of a while. There's some pullbacks, but the pattern doesn't fail, and up it continues. If you look right at the like the 19th, you can see things shifting, and there's a couple red candles, and you can see the PPO is starting to taper down, and then there's a big drop. So let's look at that trade, and we will say that we selected the June 20th expiration, and we purchased the 150 strike. We enter on April 4th, and the premium was $2.65 or $265, and you bought 2 contracts, so the total was $530. Had you decided to close on April 14th, just 10 days after getting in, during that kind of volatile period where I was saying that the pattern didn't actually fail, but it definitely looked like, ooh, what is going on? You could have closed for $6.19. So that would have been a profit of $3.54, or $354, or $708 for the 2 contracts. That is 134% gain for those 10 days. That is amazing. That is awesome. Had you had the feeling, it hadn't really violated with a cross and all of that, had you held, because the EMAs were still in uptrending order, and the pattern then continued, you would have received $820, or $820, or $555 profit for the 2 contracts. That would have been $1,110. That then moved up to 209%. That is amazing. Either trade would have been awesome. So I've kind of run through very quickly the 2 services. The first strike, which really focuses on, in a sense, the market as a whole, because we're zeroing in on the NASDAQ, the S&P, and the Russell. And all of the equities are in the Q's, SPY or IWM. And then the second service that I mentioned is Blitz, which really zeroes in on the equities that have the high ATRs, where there's a high volume with them. All right, Brad. Well, I've kind of run through it.
Well, that was fantastic. Let me just get back here to share my screen. Get back here again. Bear with me. All right. And let me just scroll over here. Okay. So just kind of like to recap this. These are two of Wendy's premium services. And what you're going to get is a welcome email from the Kirkland team, which is going to provide some very, very important details and downloads to get you started. Some books, the education, if you want to go that route. A lot of people just want to make the money and they don't want to put the effort in. It's like having certain people want to go to the gym every day. They want to diet. Other people want to, if there was a pill that would make you look 20 years younger, they would take that. Well, got both of those. But you're going to have that, the education. There is 100% dedicated support for you, where you have access to the support team, and they can provide expert answers to any of your questions you might have. Also, again, like I said, there's in-depth education, learning. Learn the methodology, the clear entry, exit rules, and these are all provided through our digital books and videos. Also, you are going to get Wendy's newsletter. We're going to get valuable insights and updates. Now, those are emailed every week from Wendy's team. And then you're going to get a game plan. Every athletic team, every business, they've got a game plan, what they want to do. You're going to get a strategic game plan that's going to, hopefully take you from where you are now to where you want to be. And that's all provided through a digital manual. You're going to get that. Also, let me just go over here. Now, we have something that Wendy has arranged, and it's very, very special. This is a limited time. It's an exclusive offer valued at up to $2,000, meaning that you can go and order these, and you can pay up almost $2,000 for these various little secret things. We don't want to let the cat quite out of the bag yet, but they are valued up to $2,000, and you're going to get those once you become a member of Wendy's, either the First Strike or her Blitz paychecks. That's something very, very special. So, if you have any questions, reach out to our team, get started, reach out today. Our phone number is 310-647-5664, or you could call toll free 866-661-5664. And our email address is support@smsinc1.com. Now, as promised, and by the way, folks, apologize again for our camera not working. That was not our fault. That's the servers say they're having technical issues, but again, apologize for that. But we have some questions and answers here, or questions. We'll provide the answers, hopefully. Wendy, are you up for taking a couple of Q&As?
Sure, I have a little bit more time. That'd be
All
great.
right, thank you. We have, let's see, let's find a good one. Common. Okay, Ron in Sacramento. He is asking, how much time is required to do this?
Okay, it kind of depends. If you are just receiving the email that I send out with the information and you decide that you want to enter a trade, you can take that information and insert it on your order page at your brokerage site, and it might take 2 minutes to put that information in. And that is that. And so you do that when you open a trade and you do that when you close a trade. If, on the other hand, you are interested in learning how to trade and you want to spend some time looking at charts and reading the information and all, then that's up to you. If you want to spend a hour a day or 3 days a week, a little bit, or what, that is, the learning process is kind of in your lap. But as far as actually trading, it happens really quick.
Got to promote the advisory board. Okay, then Kathy in Tucson, she is asking, does this work in all types of markets?
Yes, because you can buy calls when the market is going up or the equity is going up, and you can buy puts when things are dropping. It took me a while to understand puts. That is like, how in the world can the price of something go down, but I'm going to profit? But that is what happens. That when you buy a put, you earn money when the price of something goes down.
And then Ted in Dallas asked this question. I think I can answer this. How do we get the trades? Well, the trades are emailed to you and they are text. You get text also support. So you get both those, email and text. So you don't have to be, you know, looking at your computer, staring at your computer all day. And that's when the text alerts really, really help. So let's see another one. Is there how much experience do I need? I'll let you handle that one, Wendy, if you could, please.
Again, you don't really need any experience to start. You have to have a brokerage account. You have to look and understand how you place the orders on your brokerage account, but you don't need to know very much about the stock market, looking at charts, any of that. And that will eventually come as you stay involved. Once you know and understand your brokerage account, then you are sent an email with all of the information as far as what to insert into the order. And that's that. Then later, if you want to study the trading materials and learn more about how to read a chart, that is entirely up to you.
Okay, great. And then Sherry in where's Sherry? Memphis, I think. Yeah, Memphis. She asks, what can they trade these using a retirement account? I can answer this one. Wendy, yes, yes, they can. In an IRA, never had any problem with that. Sometimes in a 401k, you cannot. So the best thing to do is to talk to your administrator on doing these trades in a 401k or a profit sharing. But generally speaking, in an IRA, especially since these are just simple puts and calls, that should not be a problem. I've never really, even 10 years, found anybody that had a problem with that. And that's about it. What is included? And I will, Bob in San Diego asks, what is included in this? And again, I will kind of just do a little recap summary here. You are going to get Wendy Kirkland's direct guidance, the actual trade strategies. You're going to get the actual trades to make, when to get in, when to get out. She leaves nothing to chance, nothing. So just imagine what took her years and years. And there's an old saying, folks, I don't know if you've heard this, but the University of Wall Street charges a very expensive tuition through trial and error. What that means is if you don't know what you're doing, it can cost you a lot of money. And this is where you have Wendy, her experience, she is making the decisions what to buy, when to get in, when to get out. And you're also going to get valuable education, the digital manuals. So for those of you that want to learn how to fish, not just be given a fish, but learn how to do it, that is available also. Any questions that you have on your learning, you can tell probably the passion in Wendy's voice that she loves to teach people. She loves to educate people. So that is also available and will be given to you. Plus, you actually are going to get some bonus things that we, for sense of time, we don't really have time to talk about. They're kind of a surprise, but you will be getting these for the today only, and they are valued up to $2,000. That you're going to get those included absolutely free. So, with that all being said, Wendy, anything you want to add to anything?
I'm just happy to be here and happy to share the information. I appreciate you and all that you do. And again, it's what my life is all about. It changed it. My life is wonderful. And it's what I want for other people. So I appreciate you and all that you do and just happy to be here.
Well, thank you, Wendy. You're too kind. Thank you. But it's been again just a pleasure working with you. I think it's a little over 10 years working together. So again, I want to thank you very much. And let me just leave those phone numbers again. I want to thank everybody for attending our live webinar with Wendy Kirkland, her high probability option tactics. Our phone number again is 866-661-5664. That's toll free. And 310-647-5664. You can always also email us at support@smsinc, the number one.com. So again, folks, I want to thank you all for attending. Wendy, again, it's always a pleasure to talk to you and for you to share your wisdom. And it's been a real pleasure. And again, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time out of your busy schedule to share it with our listeners.
Happy to be here. Have a great afternoon, great weekend, and talk again soon.
All right, thank you. Bye, everybody.